Good afternoon, everybody. We are here with Ryan Dawson, huge friend of the channel for many years. His link is at the top of the description box over on the YouTube version of this. Please support his work. As you guys know, from what we've done with him over the years, he's been shadow banned, completely banned, wiped off the face of the earth from many platforms, blacklisted, etc. And his
That was the
support.
first.
His support, yeah, his support is really important. He was the tip of the spear on the Jeffrey case with us, and we can't thank him enough, for all the hours he's put in on this channel. So huge thank you for joining us today, Ryan.
There's a Jeffrey map, or half of one you can see behind me, and Numek right below it, which is sort of the generation before old JE. Be careful what I say. We don't have free speech here.
Well, we've got a new subject to talk about. They haven't clamped down on it yet, and that is the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. I've been speaking to you, on Twitter about it. You said you've interviewed some people. You spoke to Scott Ritter, and that you've got a lot of information to talk about. So, where would you like to start with that, Ryan?
I spoke with Ritter a couple days ago, and we did a show together, and I spoke with Larry Johnson also through Telegram. He agrees with what I'm about to say, so I guess we can walk through. Let's get the undeniables first. So step one, before you can find somebody to groom for an assassination, is you have to dehumanize the target, or it certainly helps. You don't have to, but they clearly did that. The mass media has been calling Trump Adolf Hitler constantly, dehumanizing him. Biden called him an existential threat to America and his supporters. They twisted this speech he gave. I think he was in Ohio or something. He was talking about the car industry. He said it was going to be a bloodbath, meaning the economy of the car industry. It was clear that's what he's talking about. And Biden keeps repeating, it's like the Charlottesville myth, saying he says it's going to be a bloodbath, like another J6 with guns. So that's what happened first, is they demonized this guy since 2016, at least, constantly referring to him as Mr. Mustache, which is such a ridiculous comparison. Trump did not start any wars, much less kill millions of Europeans. So that went on first. And then you have a series of, I'd say, a cascade of failures. And I'll steal something from Scott Ritter's wife, actually coined this. He got Epsteined. And that's the style of murder where incompetence is the cover up. Oh, the cameras don't work, and oh, the doors just open, and everything went wrong, and the guards were asleep, and whatever. And his roommate was allegedly moved out and taken off suicide watch. All these things have to happen for this to happen. And this is what occurred on the 13th of July. You've got a Pac-Man shaped perimeter where, first of all, it is the Secret Service's duty to guard former presidents. And that's not all they guard, but that was added after somebody killed Bobby Kennedy. It is in their new statute, Title 18, Section 3056, parentheses A, if anybody wants to check that. They have to guard them. That is their responsibility. They cannot just abdicate to the local police that role and say, yeah, we have a perimeter, but it's going to have this big slice in it, and only 150 yards away. Sorry, I'm American. We use yards. That's where it happened. I don't speak communist, so. But whatever that is in meters. So we say about Celsius. You know what C stands for? Kami. I know that one because I've been living in Japan and Korea. I'm just joking. But I'm going to use that because that's where it occurred in Pennsylvania. So it's not about, a football field and a half away. And that doesn't work either, does it? American football. It's very close. And the thing is, and AOC pointed this out, AR-15 range is within 400 to 600 yards. So why would the perimeter end at 150 to 200 yards? That doesn't make any sense. Why would you, and what is located there? Oh, just a rooftop. No big deal. If you're going to assassinate somebody with a rifle, you want the high ground. Why? You always check for open windows and rooftops, because if there's a large crowd, you have to be above the crowd so you can hit the target. You can't shoot through the crowd unless you're some Marvel superhero. So you have to look for high rises. Why would you secure an area and then leave a rooftop open? And I guess we can call her former, the former head of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle, said, well, it's sloped at the high point about 5 degrees. A sloped roof. What? No, I'm sorry. And that roof, it sloped like that, maybe. The other roofs that sniper teams were on, which you can see behind Trump, are sloped even more. That was such a canard. And when she says we, I want to know who. Of course, she didn't answer any questions. And this is the other part when how you tell something's a cover up. Just say you screwed up if it's incompetence. And some people get fired. You add suspicion when you won't answer any questions. And she's very careful with her language when they asked her, did you decide a third of the force would be female? No, I didn't decide that. That's true, because that would be 33%. She said 30%. You see how this is very Fauci-esque? We didn't give gain of function to Wuhan. We gave it to Echo Health, and they gave it to Wuhan. It's just parsing words, as Senator Paul said. The Cheadle got grilled, but every time they asked her a question, all right, well, who made that dumb decision to leave a rooftop open? Who decided the perimeter would stop it so close to the area? She couldn't answer. She said, well, I'll have to get back to you. Or she would say, we're going to wait for the FBI investigation. The same FBI that's been going after Trump this entire time. So that doesn't fly. Exiting out of Skype, sorry. And then at one point she said, well, it's a panel of people. So there's no accountability. Nobody's will step up and say who made what decision. So I did some digging. And it come to find out, these police departments, because there's more than one, they had Beaver County and Butler, that they're outsourcing to are the very same departments that when Trump supporters were being assaulted and beaten and harassed, they just sat there like, we don't see anything. And people would even post these clips on Twitter, hitting people with bottles and punching people and hitting them with flagpoles and things. And they don't do anything. They just, whatever, he's Hitler, right? That's what the media said. Just let it happen. So you have a series of screwed ups. First of all, they didn't do an advance. That is, if you're going to have the president or former president in an announced area for a speech or whatever, and it's outside, the Secret Service is supposed to surveil that area before he arrives. Check it for everything, IEDs, whatever. And you're going to say, if he's going to be here on this stage, we have a perimeter, metal detectors and whatnot to let the crowd come in, search bags, get rid of weapons and things. And you have to look at high rises. That's like first thing, like check off the top of the list. No rooftops, no open windows. Well, the rooftops behind them had counter sniper teams. There were some police on the ground. They did have a fenced perimeter, but they didn't really check bags very well from what I'm hearing, interviewing people who were there. They told them online when they got their ticket that you couldn't bring a bag, but then people did. And they just sort of, it was like going to Disney, just sort of, yeah, let them in. That wasn't taken seriously. They didn't check for when they bought it online, you scan your phone or something. No, I still let them in. It was ridiculous. And then they decided for some reason, oh yeah, there's a rooftop that overlooks the stage with a slope so someone could be on the back of it. It was a perfect place to be for a sniper. We're going to just sit inside the building instead. Now, there were windows on a building sort of behind and to the left of it, if you were facing it from where Trump was, that you could oversee that roof. And the cops, one of them's named Greg, we know from body cam, we know his first name, were in those windows and did see Thomas Crooks. The pictures of him with his gray shirt and his skinny arms come from the police photographing him. And now here's where it gets so ridiculous. They knew he was a person of interest for hours. And it got real hot in the last 30 minutes. He's walking around with a rangefinder. No golf course anywhere, no golf clubs. And that's about the only two things you use a rangefinder is to see how far the golf hole is, or ball if you really missed it badly, or shooting stuff or people. That's it. You're not doing surveys or something. You're not landscaping. There is no reason. So you've got this 20-something-year-old incel with a rangefinder outside a Trump rally. That ought to be a lot of red flags, because who does mass shootings? Almost exactly 20 to 22 years old. Looks like physiognomy's real. They look like increpid incels every time. They're just some weird kids. And he's walking around with a backpack and a rangefinder and a shirt with a gun on it for a gun company. And they lost him. They took his photo. I said, I would like to know. And of course, Cheadle didn't answer. When did you communicate that, if at all, to the Secret Service? How did you lose him? You're looking at him through a window. Have a guy go talk to him. Why do you have a rangefinder? In fact, and here, if you did lose him and you were suspicious, then Trump can't go on the stage. If you can't apprehend the suspect or person of interest, and there's a question mark at all, then the person you're protecting goes to a safe zone, whether that's the limo or they have staging areas where you can't get to them. You just stayed in that. They let him go. Let him talk. Nothing was done. And it gets more ridiculous from there. The cops that took his picture, had they just stayed where they were in those windows that overlook the roof that he kind of shimmied or bear crawled up, he would have been right in front of them doing it. They would have seen him. They claim that they left their post to go down to look for him. And so when they leave is when he comes at the exact time. When they go to look for this guy is when he goes up a ladder. He pre-positioned a gun, apparently, gets his gun and shimmies up, not too well because the roof was hot and this moron wore a t-shirt instead of long sleeves.